The date was fine. She was smart, funny, no red flags. She laughed at your joke, even the one that wasn't that good. You went home and stared at your ceiling like you just watched a movie with a 68% on Rotten Tomatoes. Not bad enough to complain about, not good enough to see again. Nothing was wrong. You just couldn't feel the high you were trained to expect. It wasn't intuition. In a few minutes, I'm going to say something about self-care that will make you uncomfortable. And if it doesn't, you probably needed it most. Dating apps did something very specific to your brain. They took the most vulnerable thing you'll ever do, choosing a person, and turned it into the same experience as choosing what to watch on a Tuesday night. A psychologist named Barry Schwartz called this the paradox of choice. More options, less satisfaction, more second-guessing, more ghosting your own choices. But listen, it's not just that you can't pick. It's that picking starts to feel like losing. Every time you commit to one person, some part of your brain asks, what if the next one was better? You're not indecisive. Your nervous system has been retrained, so commitment doesn't feel like peace anymore. Blame it on the dopamine that the apps have hooked you on. It's true. Okay, so let's say you beat the apps and you actually commit. You're in a relationship. You did it. Standing ovation. Woo! Well, now you have a different problem. You're not dating someone. You're co-show running a limited series about dating someone. You've got story arcs. You've got a soft launch, which is somehow a thing that exists. After that, then you've got the hard launch, which is when you announce on Instagram, you're in love like it's a press release. You've got the grid aesthetic. You've got the couple rebrand. And somewhere in the middle of all this content production, a very simple question just falls off the table. Do you actually like this person when nobody's watching? It was all a performance. The relationship isn't failing. It's just the show got canceled. Man, you know what? That's not even the uncomfortable part. The uncomfortable part is next. And it's about the thing you think is saving you. Here's where I'm going to say something that might make you want to close this video and go journal about it. Therapy is real. Trauma is real. Boundaries are real. I'm not coming for any of that. But somewhere along the way, the language of healing became the most elegant exit strategy a generation has ever invented. And I'm not saying I'm above this. I've used this language too. Every hard conversation became, I need space. Every rough patch became, we're not aligned. Every single moment where love asked you to be slightly uncomfortable, even for 5 minutes, that became codependency. You thought you learned boundaries. Maybe that's the wrong way to think about it. Actually, what you learned was how to leave and feel enlightened about it. And the wildest part? No one around you will challenge it. Because in a culture where self-care is sacred, questioning someone's exit is basically a crime. You've built an entire vocabulary that lets you quit anything hard and call it growth. And everyone does the appropriate thing in this situation, applaud. So if the apps are broken and the performance is fake and your healing language has a loophole, what actually works? A researcher named John Gottman spent decades studying thousands of couples. Happy ones, miserable ones that made it, ones that didn't. And he found something that should be painted on the ceiling of every therapist's office. 69% of relationship problems are perpetual. They don't get fixed. They don't get resolved with the right conversation or the right book or the right communication framework. They just exist forever. Congratulations. You married a human, I guess? You know the, what do you want to eat tonight? Type of conversation that goes in circles for 20 minutes? Until someone says, I don't care, you pick. But then they also say no to the first 2 suggestions? That's not a phase. That's the relationship. The couples who made it didn't find some cheat code for compatibility. They looked at each other's annoying, unchangeable, deeply human nonsense and said, yeah, I can work with this. You're not failing at love. It's not that bad. What you're seeing is the human condition, but you're calling it a red flag. Your whole life, you heard one piece of advice more than any other. Don't settle. And it was good advice. It still is good advice. But somewhere along the way, you confused two things that sound the same, but aren't. Settling for less than you deserve, that's worth avoiding. But settling into something, which is choosing it on the boring days, choosing it on the hard days, choosing it when there's nothing to post about, that's not weakness. That, in fact, is the whole point. You weren't bad at love. You were trained to shop for it, to surf, to scroll. Next option, next option, next option, endless options. The good news is the solution is stupidly simple. Not easy, but simple. Pick someone, and then pick them again tomorrow, and the day after that, even when it's boring, even when they suggest the same restaurant you've been to 40 times. Just pick them. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, subscribe for more stories about influence, seduction, and power.